Hi, in the previous video, we have seen how to export the render layers. We have exported the render layers separately for the shadow and geometry. So in this video, we are going to import the render layers into the Nuke and we will see how to composite into the footage. So now we'll close the Maya here and I will show the files. So this is the final outputs of these shadows and geometry here. So if you open this folder, you can see that like I have exported only the geometry separate and I have exported the shadow separate. So now we'll see the final compositing in the Nuke, how to mesh these two render layers, and we'll make some color gradings too. So now we will open the Nuke here, and here in the Nuke I will open the previous project. So file, like we can go to the recent comp. So here in the starting we have done this like camera tracking now. So we have the footage and we have exported all the camera trackings to the Maya. Now after all that we have done all the lightings and shadows, everything in the Maya. Now we will import that render files into the Nuke and we will see how to match with the footage here. So I will import that. So we'll go to the location and just you can drag this and directly into here. So like just I will set the viewer to here. Now you can see this is the geometry and now this is the shadows. So now we'll merge this. So what we can do is now no need of these nodes here, we can put aside here. In future, suppose if you want to refine any camera tracking, then we can use this. Now we will put aside. Now we'll take the footage here. Now you can see you can merge here. So for suppose like if I take a merge here, now what the thing is, first we need to merge the footage here. So what we'll do is we'll put the background to footage and we'll put this foreground to the vehicle. When I play, now if you see the movements are matching here. Now what the thing is, we need to add the shadows too. So like we can select this and we have to take another merge here. So what we need to do is like we have to take merge and I will put the shadows on the top and I will put the background to here. So now you can see. Now we got the shadows. So without see previously there were no shadows. Now when I take this mesh, we can see. So now what the thing is here, the order must be there. First we need to like connect this geometry with the footage and laterally we have to add the shadow here. So simple thing like the geometry has to be in the foreground, so that means we have to connect the A and the background has to be the footage here. And laterally I will put the shadow, so shadows has to be on the top of all this thing. So I have taken another mesh and we have connected this B to both of this and the A to shadow. Now you can see the main thing is now why we have exported shadows and geometry separately, because now if you want to make any changes for the shadow, that means like see the shadow is very harder and if you go closer there is a lot of noise here. So what we can do is we can take some blur node to this shadow separately so that we can edit only the shadow. So if you want to make any color corrections for this vehicle, we can take some separate color corrections for this vehicle and we can make changes. Suppose in case if you're not exporting both the layers separately and if you export both the layers in the single node, then when we make some changes, it will apply to the shadow and the model. So that's why we have uh, rendered separate shadow and separate geometry. So for example, see I want to apply little bit of smooth shadow here. So for this shadow we can take blur node and the shortcut is B and you can use some sort of blur here. So see we can make blur and we can make the shadows very softer. And also in case if you want to make the lighter shadows or darker shadows, we can take another node called multiply math. So here what the thing is, we can increase the opacity of this thing, means like if you want to increase the darkness and if you want to make it light shadows, then we can use this multiply node here. Okay. So for time being, the shadows are a little bit darker. So I will make this little bit darker here and I will apply little bit of blur. And also later if you want to make any color corrections for the vehicle also, we can take some like grade gain. So suppose if I want to take in grade, you can increase and decrease the brightness of the vehicle so that we can match to the environment. Or else if you want to make take any color correction, we can take any color node. So like color correct or color lookup. So suppose if I take in color correct, you can increase and decrease saturation or decrease the saturation. We can increase the contrast. So according to your footage, we have to make the color corrections for this. So for time being, I will not make any changes because already we have applied the lightings according to the environment here. So in this way, we will create different kind of render layers here. So in the future courses, we will see how to create more render passes. For time being, in this series, we have created only the shadow and geometry. And now we will export this. Now, if you want to export it as an MOV file or sequence file, for this merge, we can take a right node. Now here we have to click on this file to save the location and to set the format. So you can click on this file and you can go to the location. For timing, I will save on desktop and you can give the name like whatever, like final render, and we have to mention .mov. And in case suppose if you want to render as a sequence file, make sure after name we have to type double hash and dot format name like JPEG or TIFF or Targa or PNG, whatever you want. So if you want to export the sequence, you have to type in this way. You have to type the double hash after the name of this. Or if you want to like render like an MOV file, then .mov, and we have to remove this double hash and click on save here. And these are the default settings, no need to change, and we have to click on render, and we can render it from 1 to frame because we have started from first frame. So like 1 and click on OK. So now it will start render. We can see the final output. So that's it. Now this is the end of the series here, how to export the camera trackings from Nuke to Maya. See you in the upcoming courses.